be a point in your time in your life where it's the right time to do a great thing. If you're waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect timing, it's not going to happen. You know what you have to do? You have to create the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect situation.
Is that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop growing. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like. Jobs that are making them sick. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you have. When the message of misery visits you, what are you going to do? What will keep you in the game?
There are things that you think you'll never need to know, that you may only need to know one time in your life, but that could save your life because you had that knowledge.
Unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it, that you talked yourself out of it?
You're waiting on your next door neighbor to make it happen for you. It may not happen. If you're waiting on your mother or your father, they may be so ancient in their thinking that they don't understand this opportunity that you have. And if you're waiting on them, it may never get done. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal.
What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason.
If you're not where you are, if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have, if you're not where you think you should be at this particular place, it has nothing to do with the system, but it has everything to do with the fact that you're not making the sacrifice. I want you to make that dream become a reality, because if you don't, you will be working for somebody else to make their dreams become a reality.
Everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more. And let me tell you something, that's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling, particularly people that you're doing it for. Most people take their greatness, take their ideas to the graveyard with them.
Listen to me, if it was easy, everybody would do it. There are people right now who are working who don't want to work. There are people who hate their jobs, but they keep getting up to do it.
The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard. Because in the graveyard we will find inventions that we never ever were exposed to. Ideas, dreams that never became reality. Hopes and aspirations that were never acted upon.
The question is, what are you going to do with your time? What drives you? Greatness is a lot of small things done well. Day after day, workout after workout, being day after day.
When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong?
You will never ever be successful until you turn your pain into greatness, until you allow your pain to push you from where you are to push you to where you need to be. Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. Your pain is going to be a part of your prize, a part of your product. I challenge you to push yourself.
See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself.
I mean that what you did last week don't count. Today is the only important day. There are 86,400 seconds in a day, and how you use those are critical. You got 86,400 today, and what you do today is going to cement who you are. Nobody's going to talk about what you did last week.
That the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You have this opportunity of a lifetime. It means absolutely nothing if you don't take advantage of it in the lifetime of this opportunity.
I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, life seems useless and worthless without it. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no.
When you die on E. Leave no dream left behind, guys. Leave no opportunity left behind. When you leave this earth, accomplish every single thing you can accomplish. Listen to me, you're going to be here one day, but you'll never get here if you give up, if you give in, if you quit. And finally, guys, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. In order to achieve greatness, you must first believe you can. You gotta catch this one. I honestly believed in the earlier part of my career, when I used to stand on these kind of stages, I wasn't as effective as I am now. Because when I was first introduced to do something like this, maybe 500 people, 1,000 people, I literally would come in the room, and as gifted and as talented as I was, even though I belonged, I had everything I needed to do, I would walk in the room and feel like I don't belong in this room. I remember, same gift, the videos had already been out, my numbers were great, and I would come in rooms and go, or like that room, like I go to a high school, like boom, I go to a youth detention center, boom, I go to a prison, boom. I come to corporate and go, I don't know if I belong in here. Everybody in the room don't look like me. They don't come from where I come from. I don't know if I belong here. And I'll never forget. And I started talking to Les, and I started naming like, yo, you, Les Brown, this person, #1 in the world. He said, don't you ever say that again. I said, don't say what? He said, you the best in the world right now. I said, what? He said, you're the best in the world right now. There's nobody as good as you in the world. You're the best right now. The only reason you're not the best right now is because you don't believe you're the best now. And when you walk out this room, I want you to go in and I'm the best right now. He said, before you even become #1, start to proclaim it and say it long before it happened. Say, I'm the #1 motivational speaker in the world. And when I was number 20, I started saying, I'm the #1 motivational speaker in the world. And I went to the computer, and the world said exactly what I said, that Eric Thomas is #1 in the world. I spoke it, the world heard it, and it activated. Your problem is that you don't believe you belong here. Your problem is that you don't think you should be sitting down here. When I believed that my voice was needed in this world, when I believed that I needed to be on the stage, not for myself, but to speak to a group of people who come from where I come from, a working class, who don't know what it's like to make millions and millions of dollars, who don't understand what wealth looks like, that I needed to come in the room with a single parent mother, with a father not in my life, being homeless and a high school dropout. Only somebody who comes from where you come from can tell you you belong. And I had to get my butt on stage because there's some folks that Les Brown can't reach. There's some folks that Tony Robbins can't reach. There's some folks that only I can reach. And so I need to be on the stage with them, doing what I was called to do. And there are those of you still up there because you don't think you belong in that $1 million home. Look, I'll never forget when I first told him I was moving to California, I was putting my wife deserves to be out of the winter in Michigan. She deserves that. I remember they said, E.T., you moving to Cali? I was like, yeah. They said, what was the first thing they said? You know how expensive California is? I said, it can't be too expensive. There's millions of people that live there.
Like for real, when I move there, it won't be like 5 of us in California. There are 5 human beings. I'm like, there's a lot of people live in California. It can't be that expensive. Are you selling your home in Michigan? I said, no, why would I do that? How can you afford 2 homes? How can I not? My wife has MS. How can I not? She wants to be with her family in the summer and she wants to be in the warmth in the winter. How can I not be bi-coastal? I won't be the first one. As a matter of fact, there's some people who own 3 and 4 homes. So we got one there, and now I'm looking at the French Riviera as my next spot. We talked about the French Riviera, baby. That's my next spot. Listen to me very closely. If I had one message to leave you with, that's a game changer, is you need to start to believe. Yeah, write this down. No. Do me a favor. Don't say that. Don't say you believe. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't say, look, it's not a behavior that I'm looking for, it's a mindset. No, here's the problem. You can't have, as powerful as the human mind is, it cannot think 2 thoughts at once. So here's what I need you to do. You need to get with these people down here and you need to reprogram your mind. All right, let me tell you why I'm saying that. So I got a friend of mine, like he sees how I treat my wife, right? So like I was homeless, high school dropout. So anything, like if Dede thinks that I'm gonna get it for her. I cook, I clean, like we are a partnership, like we do everything together. And so my boy watched the response I was getting from my wife as I wash clothes, as I cook, as I iron. And I'll never forget, my boy was like, I'm about to do that. And I was like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. He was like, no, I'm gonna start doing that. I was like, I wouldn't do that if I was you. And he didn't understand what I meant. But what I meant by it is, you're going to do it, but you're not gonna be able to do it consistently because you're mimicking my behavior, not my thought process. See, you're gonna stop ironing clothes because somewhere in your mind you think your wife is subservient. See, somewhere in your mind you think your wife was born to take care of your needs. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just telling you can't do what I do with that mindset. Like you can't believe, because so now you're gonna start ironing clothes and the people in your culture are gonna say, what are you ironing clothes for? That's a woman's job. I don't have a problem when people tell me, I'll never forget I was on the floor in an apartment we had and I was mopping the floor on my knees and my boy came in and was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm mopping the floor. You ain't never seen nobody wipe the floor. He was like, not on your hands and knees. I was like, yeah, my wife is a neat freak, so I gotta get on my hands and whatever. He was like, yo, bro, you whipped. I was like, you ain't know that? What, you trying to embarrass me? You just found out I was whipped, bro? He was like, yeah, you whipped. I was like, I see that as a compliment. Whipped. Bruh, when I was homeless and living in abandoned buildings, my girl would sneak me into her crib. When I didn't have a job, she would give me her allowance at 15. When I went to college, she was the one that said, go get your GED and follow me to college or I'm breaking up with you. When I started my speaking career, she was the one that got her job first as a nurse, and we had health insurance, and the first house we bought, my credit was so messed up, she couldn't even take my last name. She bought the first house with her credit. What do you mean about, yeah, I'm whipped and loving it. I'm about to buy me a shirt that said whipped. So you ain't even gotta ask me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I worship the ground she walks on because she's been there for me since day one. So you can't mimic what I'm doing if you don't think like I think. I look at my wife as a queen. You look at your wife as your servant. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if you guys have those roles. There's nothing wrong with that. I understand that. I've been with my wife my whole life. All of my success. I can't even divorce her because I don't know what's mine and what's hers. Like I never accomplished anything on my own. You're not hearing what I'm saying. So there are those of you who want to mimic their behavior. It's not their behavior you need. It's their mindset that you need. It's the way they think is what you need. And when you begin to think the way, let me say this to you, and this gonna be weird for my working class people. I actually worked harder when I worked. I know I got a GED. I'm so simple with you, like it go right over your head. I'm gonna say it to you one more time. what I make in an hour now presentation. I actually worked harder when I was working. Some of y'all, you have been in the working class your whole life. You missed what I just said. I actually worked more hours, worked harder, and got less money when I used to work. Now that I have a wealth mentality, I just had a promoter call me to do some stuff in another country. It was like a couple hundred, and I'm like, I'm good, bro. And he was like, no, did you hear how much I said? My man couldn't believe I was telling him no. He was like, how can you say no to 200,000? I said, because I'm an ATM machine, I'm wealth. I don't work for money, I think up money. Okay, I'm gonna say it one more time. I don't work for money, I think of ideas and make money.